So I've heard players say, including myself, I feared Mike. I've heard players in your generation say they feared Kobe. I've never really heard any players say they fear LeBron.
And it makes you go back and watch the game back then, and it makes you not even want to appreciate it no more like I did when I was a kid. Like, it was like...
Nobody feared him. 3 simple words from Shaquille O'Neal that cut deeper than any dunk or highlight reel LeBron James has ever produced. They pierce right through the championships, the records, and the accolades. And when you understand why a 4-time NBA champion, someone who actually shared the court with both LeBron and Kobe, keeps hammering this point home, the entire GOAT conversation takes on a completely different dimension. This isn't some bitter retired player throwing shade from retirement. This is Shaq, a Hall of Famer who witnessed it firsthand, speaking a truth the mainstream media won't acknowledge. And what he revealed cuts to the core of basketball greatness. The conversation that ignited this firestorm took place on Shaq's podcast in March 2024. So, I've heard players say, including myself, I feared Mike. I've heard players in your generation say they feared Kobe. I've never really heard any players say they fear LeBron. Sitting right beside him was his former Miami Heat teammate, Mario Chalmers. What Shaq said that day sent shock waves through LeBron's entire fan base. Shaq laid it out in crystal clear terms. Players used to fear Michael Jordan. They feared Kobe Bryant. But LeBron? Not a single player has ever admitted to fearing him on the basketball court. That's an explosive statement, especially from someone who played alongside these legends. When LeBron caught wind of the comments, he responded in typical fashion. He took to Instagram. He posted about his incredible streak of consecutive double-digit scoring games, emphasizing how it lasted longer than Shaq's entire NBA career. So, I didn't think players really feared LeBron like they did Jordan. I never heard anybody say it. And it's not that you shouldn't fear LeBron. I just think at the end of the day, Bron has been through so much that he wanted to be liked. So, it was kind of like he is a nice guy. Yeah, I'm going to do things now where people like me, people respect me. Sure, that statistic is remarkable. Nobody's disputing the longevity, but that completely missed Shaq's point. Shaq wasn't debating scoring totals or career length or statistics you can pull from Basketball Reference. He was talking about aura, that gut-wrenching fear opponents experienced knowing Jordan was hunting them. That anxiety before stepping onto the court against Kobe. The sleepless nights before game day, the psychological warfare that made elite defenders second-guess themselves before warm-ups even started. That's the unmeasurable element of greatness, the part that lives in opponents' minds, not in the stat sheet. And Chalmers, who spent those championship years in Miami playing right next to LeBron, backed up everything Shaq said. He confirmed that LeBron absorbed so much criticism and hatred from fans and media that he eventually prioritized being liked over being feared. He wanted to be the hero, the beloved champion, the face everyone could root for. But Jordan and Kobe, they were wired differently. They didn't care whether you loved them or despised them. They only cared that you feared stepping on the court with them. Jordan wanted opponents lying awake the night before, dreading the matchup. Kobe wanted to shatter your confidence before the opening tip. Plant doubt in your mind before you even touch the basketball. That's championship mentality. LeBron, however, craved admiration, respect, and validation. And in the hierarchy of basketball greatness, that distinction changes everything. I think the greatest player is Michael Jordan. That's what I think. I agree. LeBron's about to do something that hasn't been done in a long time, and I think he will move his name up there. But for me it's always Dr. J and Michael Jordan. But here's what catches most people off guard. Shaq didn't just start saying this in 2024. He's been delivering this message for over a decade. Back in 2011 in his memoir Shaq Uncut, he already hinted at this exact dynamic from his time playing with LeBron in Cleveland. The words he wrote back then were absolutely revealing. The entire Cleveland Cavaliers organization was walking on eggshells around LeBron James. Pure facts. Shaq described an environment of fear, not leadership. He explained that head coach Mike Brown was a solid person and capable coach, but he was terrified to confront LeBron about anything. In Cleveland, The front office was so paranoid about losing LeBron that they allowed him to operate under different rules while everyone else had to follow protocol. That kind of environment destroys championship culture from within. One story from Shaq Uncut still resonates with fans today. During a team film session, the coaching staff showed a play where LeBron failed to hustle back on defense after a missed shot. Coach Mike Brown said nothing. Absolute silence. Everyone in that room saw the clip, and Brown just moved on like it never happened. But the very next play showed Mo Williams making the same mistake. Suddenly, Brown erupted, calling him out for lack of effort and accountability. That's when Delonte West spoke up. A bold move. He challenged the double standard right there in front of everyone, arguing that accountability had to apply to everyone, not just role players. But it didn't matter. LeBron was untouchable. That kind of unequal treatment created a toxic power dynamic that no championship team can survive. Now, think about this. Can you imagine Phil Jackson letting Michael Jordan loaf on defense and pretending it didn't exist? Or any coach allowing Kobe Bryant to walk back on defense while chewing out everyone else? Absolutely not. Jackson would have benched either one of them immediately. That's how championship culture is forged, through accountability and respect, not selective enforcement. But according to Shaq, LeBron's environment was different. Those double standards followed him throughout his career. And when the biggest moments arrived, Shaq says the same pattern kept emerging. He still can't forget what he witnessed in the 2011 finals. Miami versus Dallas. The Heat were moving the ball beautifully, and it swung to LeBron wide open for a shot he could make blindfolded. But instead of taking it, he passed to Mario Chalmers. Shaq remembers thinking, what is he doing? Taking that shot defines what being the alpha means. Embracing that moment, owning that pressure. That's what separates icons from the rest. But LeBron shifted the responsibility to someone else rather than carrying it himself. That's why when Shaq appeared on the Dan Patrick Show in 2015 and Patrick asked him to choose between Kobe and LeBron in their primes, Shaq didn't hesitate. Kobe, he said instantly. The killer instinct was undeniable. No pause. No diplomatic answer. That was his verdict. Done. What about Kobe and LeBron in their prime? Who would you take? Well, I'll play with both of them and, Kobe has that killer instinct and I'll probably have to go with Kobe. Later that year at an ESPN event in Hong Kong, Shaq elaborated even further. He said young LeBron reminded him more of Magic Johnson than Michael Jordan. LeBron possessed Jordan-level athleticism, sure, but his basketball mindset aligned with Magic's, a pass-first, team-oriented philosophy instead of that ruthless scorer's mentality. And while Magic is undoubtedly one of the 5 greatest players in NBA history, nobody places him in the GOAT conversation alongside Jordan. That's the critical distinction. Shaq was making his position crystal clear about where LeBron ranks all time. Extraordinary talent, but not the ultimate assassin. This killer instinct everyone references isn't just media hype or empty rhetoric. It's the invisible fire that separates the obsessed from the talented. It's why Jordan demanded the basketball every single time the game hung in the balance, even if he'd missed his last 10 shots. It's why Kobe once dropped 81 points on a random Tuesday night simply because losing wasn't acceptable. That means you're ready to go. What would Michael say back to you if you heard that? Michael would say the same thing that I said. And then that mentality doesn't acknowledge fatigue, pressure, or reputation. It only recognizes winning. And Shaq believes that's where LeBron comes up short. He's had moments where the spotlight proved too intense, and people who were actually there confirm it. He shrunk in defining moments more than once. Then came 2021 when LeBron publicly complained about the NBA's compressed schedule following a wave of injuries across the league. Shaq wasn't buying it. He fired back, reminding everyone that the legends who came before, Jordan, Kareem, Bird, Magic, Jerry West, they all played 82 games without complaints. I played every season, Shaq declared proudly. These guys make $30, $40, $50 million a year and still want to rest. That's the difference. Go ahead. So, you want me to pay you $30 million to play 30 games? Hell, number 80 games is fine cause I did it. Jerry West did it, Kareem did it, Magic did it, Bird did it, Bernard King, like all the great legends before us did it. And they didn't make any money. And these guys couldn't believe that an NBA player could make $1 million. And now these guys are so lucky and blessed and they can't play basketball 3 or 4 days a week. And I know they hide behind all the analytical __ from their agents and people like that. What they're really trying to do is extend their career. The way the money's been going, depending on who you are, you're going to be able to make another $50, $70 million and probably more going forward if you can extend your career 2 or 3 years. The old school legends showed up every night. No excuses. No load management. For Shaq, that's the dividing line between being great and being the greatest. And he's made his stance clear. LeBron might own the statistics, but he never possessed that fear factor that separates icons from immortals. All that talk about sciences and analytics from player agents. Pure smoke and mirrors. It's sophisticated cover for what players really want, stretching their careers long enough to secure another massive contract. The money in today's NBA is astronomical. Playing 2 or 3 additional seasons can mean banking another $500 million. That's not about legacy. That's about financial security. But when you inject that into the GOAT debate, things get complicated. Yes, LeBron's longevity statistics are jaw-dropping. He's the all-time leading scorer and still performing at an elite level after 2 decades. But let's be honest, those numbers accumulated in an era where defense became softer. Hand-checking was eliminated, and hard fouls now result in ejections or suspensions. Back in the day, Jordan was getting pummeled every night by the bad boy Pistons. He earned every basket through physical punishment. Kobe played in that same brutal era when defenders could actually body you up. Today, LeBron gets free throws off contact that wouldn't have drawn a whistle 20 years ago. So, yes, the stat lines might appear similar, but they represent 2 completely different basketball universes. One was blood, sweat, and elbows. The other is about spacing and touch fouls. Whenever people accuse Shaq of hating on the new generation, he dismisses it immediately. How can I hate when I lived that greatness? He's not being bitter. He's protecting the standard. Shaq refuses to water down greatness just because today's players have slicker PR machines, bigger platforms, and social media armies amplifying their every move. He's saying greatness still has requirements, and fear still matters. Back before I played it was crazy, but when I played it was crazy. But even before, like the 80s going to 90, it was probably more physical then. But you know, people get mad. It's just a product of what I see. I seen what greatness is. Been there, played with them. I don't see that all the time over here. So, you want me to give the same props you giving them? That will never happen. You call it hate if you want. But even with the word hate, these kids like to throw that word around. If you ain't great and I'm great, how the __ can I hate on you? That don't make no sense. I'm in the building. You're not in the building. How the __ can I hate on you? And here's the thing, Shaq isn't alone in this assessment. Charles Barkley came out swinging, too, saying the entire atmosphere around LeBron has become absurd. According to Barkley, if you don't call LeBron the GOAT, LeBron's fans treat it like blasphemy, like you've committed some unforgivable sin. Having a different opinion isn't allowed anymore, Barkley said, shaking his head. Then Scottie Pippen, who literally played alongside Michael Jordan for 6 championships, didn't hold back either. When I look at LeBron, he's not what Michael was as a player. He's not even what Kobe Bryant was as a player. So when you talk about trying to compare Michael's instinct, his ability to take over games, his ability to want to have that last shot and demoralize you and scare the living hell out of you, LeBron doesn't have that gene. So Scottie, that's not in him. He stated that LeBron isn't what Michael was as a player and not even what Kobe was. According to Pippen, LeBron simply doesn't possess that takeover gene. Jordan had that ability to demand the ball, crush his opponent's will, and intimidate anyone guarding him. Kobe had that same fire burning inside. But LeBron, Pippen was direct. He doesn't have that gene. Kevin Garnett shared a story that illuminated this even more clearly. When his Celtics faced LeBron's Cavaliers, they never feared him. Not once. Kilogram said the entire team believed LeBron couldn't beat all 5 of them alone. I'm telling you the CS, we didn't give a __ about LeBron. We didn't fear LeBron and we didn't think that he can beat all 5 of us. And that's how it felt. He was trying to consolidate because he didn't want the pressure on. And the way LeBron played confirmed their belief. He kept distributing the pressure instead of shouldering it himself. Garnett's message was cold but truthful. Real assassins want that weight on their shoulders. Even Magic Johnson, one of LeBron's biggest advocates, kept it real. He said he loves LeBron and respects him tremendously, but made sure everyone understood that Jordan is the GOAT. When that many legends, Magic, Shaq, Barkley, Pippen, Garnett, all align on the same side of this debate, it's not bitterness. It's testimony from people who lived it. It's not hate. It's just an honest assessment from people who understand what real greatness looks like up close. Legends like Shaq, Barkley, and Magic aren't bitter. They're just calling it how they see it. Being feared, being the one player opponents dreaded facing. That's what made Jordan and Kobe untouchable. LeBron's legacy shines brightly, but it never carried that same intimidation factor that made opponents lose sleep the night before. All the legends who played at the highest level keep saying the same thing. Maybe it's time people actually listen. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment below.